Hey, Nada, today I'm losing my voice, so I'm going to have you introduce yourself. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Absolutely. Well, it's an honor to be here, Aimee. I can completely understand losing the voice. You had a big day. You got your book launch. We got the podcast going. Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much.
Of course. So I'm Nada Lena Nasserdeen. I'm the CEO and founder of Rise Up For You. I'm a motivational speaker and a best-selling author. And essentially what I do is my team and I, we work with leaders, entrepreneurs, and organizations around the world to enhance their performance and help them be the top 10% in what they do through soft skills. So a lot of times as individuals, we spend most of our time, money, and energy building technical skills, going to school, get our degrees, but we don't spend a lot of time building emotional intelligence, self-confidence, how to be transformational leadership, how to communicate in an influential way. And my team and I are doing that on a day-to-day basis.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so important nowadays when we're losing touch with one another and a generation that has been raised on screens and social media and those kinds of things.
Super critical. With everything that's happened in the last 5 years and technology and artificial intelligence and COVID and screen time, emotional intelligence and soft skills are going to be the things that help you stay competitive. It's also going to be the body of skills that are going to help you build a life where you have it all, right? Because we all know a lot of people that are super successful in maybe one area of their life and they've doubled down on that one area. But if you really want, I always say happy, healthy, wealthy, sexy, and making an impact, you got to have these skills. Yeah.
You're amazing. Thank you so much for coming in today. And I know you came all the way. You're not even from California.
Not anymore. I was. Yeah. I used to live here. I spent a lot of time here. I was here from 5 to 35, 36. So a little over 30 years. And then I recently moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, which I love. And it's been awesome there. But I would say probably about 50% of my team are still in California.
Amazing. Yeah. Amazing. So you just happen to be in San Diego today doing your thing.
Yeah, we have a couple things. Actually, we have a lot going on this week here in California. We're doing some work in the county, up north. And then I did a keynote today in San Diego for leaders for one of the counties, specifically on emotional and social intelligence. Amazing. And on our way back, we're here.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. It means so much to me.
We're all busy. So
yeah. Well, it's amazing. Well, I remember when I was writing my book, I met you at a We Make West event.
Yes.
And, it was like, here you were, Nada, she's a best-selling author. And I'm like, you gave me your number and you were like, just call me. And I called you and you were like, you can do this. And thank you so much because I needed that. I needed that word. It's like to do something new, to hop out of your, protective bubble that you live in.
Yeah.
It's really scary.
It is. Well, you should be very proud of yourself because one of the things that I'm really passionate about that I talk about a lot is self-confidence. And most individuals, and I would say about 83%, because we ask every year, 83% of individuals struggle with self-confidence and it impacts their ability to take action. And so there's many individuals like you, Aimee, women, men, it doesn't matter, that they've been wanting to write the book for years, or they've been wanting to build the business and they still haven't because of the thoughts or the fear or whatever belief system, is telling them that they can't. And so you should be really proud of yourself that you actually wrote the book.
And writing it was actually the easy part. Yeah. The harder part was actually taking it out into the world. Yeah. That was so scary.
Vulnerable.
To make the leap, to actually be to push the button, that says, okay, it's, we are, we're live.
Yep.
And anyone can buy your book and it's out there. That was for me. And I wasn't anticipating that at all. Yeah. I really thought writing the book would be the hardest part.
Good for you. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Anytime I come against fear, I'm always like, okay, you're about to do something you've never done before. Let's go.
Yeah. And it's not life-threatening fear like when we were in the caveman era and our, amygdala in our brain was like, it's a good fear, you know?
And it's kind of invigorating. And in the world that we live in, sometimes I feel like we're not challenged enough. Yeah. We are so comfortable. We're so entertained. We're so pacified.
Yes, that's true.
And when you get those feelings of being excited, butterflies, the nerves, you get kind of hooked on it.
Well, unfortunately, most people aren't living. They're on autopilot.
Yeah.
So these feelings that you're talking about of like invigoration and like passion and life, unfortunately, many individuals are walking around like in zombie mode, and I think that we all, I know for me, and I could see the passion in you, like we thrive to have this energy of like this, but I call it like this urgency. Like there's this feeling in me that's like a constant urgent feeling of like, we got to go. Like we have so much to do in this world, to make an impact, to live, to like feel every aspect. I once did a keynote, and usually when I keynote, there's no other keynotes, right? So I go on, I do my thing, and then, that's it for them. They have breakouts. Yeah. But I once did a keynote and there was another keynote there. So I had the pleasure of watching. I was like, oh, this is great. I get to like watch another speaker. And she said something that has stuck with me ever since. And she said, every single day, I want to commit to dying empty. So like, if I don't wake up tomorrow, then I know that today, like I gave everything, I left it all here. I have no regrets, and all my passion, all my energy, like I gave it all in the day.
I love that. Yeah. I was so inspired when at the very end of writing my book, the very last chapters that came through, it was coming from that place. Like, this is my legacy. Yeah. Like, exactly. Why would I not want to leave this behind? Exactly. For my kids, for other people, for the people that will come after me. Like, I get to leave a little something. Exactly. And like finding that passion just in that, for the next generation, for that one person that might need it.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of people that need it.
Yeah. It's like, if you can just be brave just for that one person, like and then you end up being brave for yourself.
Yeah. Well, and then it gives permission for other people to be brave.
Yes.
Because there's so many people that are just kind of waiting, and then they see you do it and they're like, okay, I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, as we rise, we can each pull up maybe one or two more people along the way, right?
100%. And then they pull up one or two, and they pull up, and over time, it's a positive trickle effect.
Yeah, I love it. I just think that it's absolutely, you pulled me up.
Thank you.
You really did. It was your inspiration. It really was. Thank you so much for telling me, for giving me the permission, for showing me that it was impossible.
Thank you.
That it was doable.
It was meant to be. We met for a reason, and I remember right away, you're like, you wrote a book? I'm like, yes, let's talk.
Because here I was like, man, at that point in my life, I had this book that was pouring out of me like nonstop. And I was like, okay, great. I have this book. Like, what do I do with it? Yeah. Yeah. Like, okay. So I wrote this stuff in my notes in my phone. Like, what's next?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. So could you share with me what inspired you to found Rise Up For You, and how your background influenced this decision?
Yeah, it was a lot, actually. So I used to be a performer, actually, Aimee. Yeah, I used to do musical theater, and I used to tour internationally around the world and sing and dance. That's like where it started. I remember when I was a performer, I always got the center stage spot in the room, but I was never the best singer. So I started to understand at a younger age that it was more than like my technical skill. I practiced, I worked hard. I was a great singer, but I was never the best. And so a lot of times I would get like the main part of the solo or the center stage, but I was always confused because all these other men and women can like sing me out of the water. And so I started to kind of observe, like, why am I the one that's getting the solo or the center stage? And I realized very quickly that it wasn't my voice that was landing me that spot. It was my confidence, or going to the director and being like, hey, can you give me feedback? I want to be better. It was these other aspects that we now called soft skills that I didn't know they were called that at the time, that I was tapping into. Now, fast forward about 7-8 years, I become the executive of an education corporation, and I'm, leading about 200 people under my team. And I did that for a while, and I loved it. And I saw the same challenge happening. So professionals that had PhDs, master's degrees, bachelor's, you name it, all this stuff were really struggling, not only professionally, but personally. They just were not happy. They were unfulfilled. They were not engaged. It impacted their leadership. They struggled with perfectionist mindset and imposter syndrome and feeling enough. And all of these things infiltrated the workplace. But you can also tell that when they went home, they were unhappy, and that was like the majority of the workforce. And so I started to just question, like, why is this happening? And I started to like pursue the knowledge of like leadership and like how to push your potential and your fulfillment. And then like everything came crashing down. So I decided to resign from the company after about 5-6 years. And I sold my house, sold my car. I was an executive, got rid of everything. And I moved out of the country for an opportunity called marriage.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And within 4 weeks, my husband said he wanted a divorce on the first day of our honeymoon.
Oh my gosh.
So I lost everything in the matter of a couple of weeks. I lost all my money. All I had was $100. Didn't have a house, didn't have a car, no job because I replaced myself. And I came back to California and I had 2 luggage. That was it.
Oh my God.
And I remember being on the plane and I fell asleep because I was crying so much. I was like in shock. And my father came to me in my dream because my father died when I was 27. And he came to me in my dream and he said, Nada, everything you need is already inside of you. You just have to rise up for you.
No way.
Yeah. And so that phrase just kept like sticking out in my mind. I'm like, rise up for you, rise up for you. So I came back to California, didn't know anything about entrepreneurship, knew nothing about business, but like this idea of rise up for you like kept coming into my head. So I was like, well, I've got nothing to lose because I lost it all.
It's kind of the best place to be sometimes.
So I decided that I was going to start to build Rise Up For You, but I didn't know what it was going to be yet. I just really just had the name. But I knew I wanted it to be empowering and educational because that's like where I come from. And so I started building Rise Up For You. I started with the podcast. That's all I had was just like free knowledge and education. And 3 months later, my second parent, my mother, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. Oh. So I built the company out of a hospital. I took showers at the 24-Hour Fitness in Newport Beach, Balboa area. And I would go back to the hospital, Hoag Hospital, open up my laptop. How do you build a business? What do people know in the world? Who's Tony Robbins? I didn't know any of that stuff.
Wow.
9 months later, she died. So by the time I was 31 years old, I buried both of my parents, going through a divorce, lost all my money. Like I was at rock bottom. But I had Rise Up For You. Yeah. I had the name. I had like the podcast, right? That's really all I had.
Yeah.
And I just remember asking myself, like, what does it mean? What does it mean to build a life that you're proud of? Both of my parents worked really, really hard. They both died when they were 63. They didn't even make it to retirement. They were beautiful, beautiful individuals. They weren't heavy. Sickness somehow got them. And so I just started to question, like, what is this really all about? Yeah. And from there, I doubled down on my self-confidence. That's the one thing that I've always had. And I had the name Rise Up For You. And I just started building and I never looked back. And today we're in over 50 countries. I have an amazing team. They do most of the training and the coaching today. And today I primarily do like the Train the Trainer program, like building the next pipeline of our trainers and coaches and the keynoting.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Look at you go.
Thank you.
So proud.
Thank you.
Yeah. From the ashes, you rise.
That's right.
Yeah. Like the phoenix. Good for you.
Thank you.
With your experience as a college professor and an executive, how did you transition into entrepreneurship and coaching?
It was really hard, but the coaching is not hard and the training is not hard because it's innate in me. What was difficult was just understanding business, just the landscape of business. You know, I'm always proud of the fact that like I built it with $100. It's like, I didn't have a business degree. I didn't have investors or none of that. I didn't have any capital, no seed funding. I literally had $100 and was like, all right, let's figure this out. What I did first with Rise Up For You is I said, okay, what do I know and what am I good at? Well, I'm really damn good on the mic because I used to be a singer.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, I'm like, well, I'm not afraid to talk.
That's amazing.
I'm not afraid to talk. I'm not afraid of a microphone because I used to perform. So you never know what your skills are how they're going to help you in the future, right?
It's so true.
And then the other thing that I knew I was good at because I asked people was pushing people's potential in teaching. So when I asked people, I'm like, what am I good at? Every single person said, you're really good at like seeing potential in other people. And you're a great teacher. Like when you're up front teaching, like when I used to teach the other performers, for example, and I used to cast shows and teach about the voice and the pedagogy and like the dance moves, I was always rated as one of the top teachers. So it's like, okay, well, I'm really good on the mic. I'm good speaking. I see that I'm a good trainer and like good with teaching. And the problem that I saw is soft skills. It's like people not knowing how to push their potential and therefore they can't pass that potential on to anybody else, right? You can't lead You can't give when you don't have it yourself. And so that's kind of where I started. And it was hard. I didn't know anything about business, but I believed in myself. And when you believe in yourself, you can do a lot. Because I remember driving in the car, no money, and I heard this podcast, and there was this guy named, Cole, and he was doing this event in Vegas, no money. And I'm like, I drove to Vegas and I just went, it was this entrepreneurial podcast that I heard, and they're like, we're doing a business conference. Come learn how to build your business and make an impact. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to drive. I have no money, but I'm going. And then I just started to learn and learn. And I would stay up multiple hours, 2, 3 a.m. How do you build a website? And I just started building it, and really just kind of came from there.
That's amazing. Yeah, you just wanted to build it, so you built it.
Yeah, and I've never doubted myself.
Yeah.
There were a lot of times where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I never doubted that I could learn it.
Of course.
I was like, okay, I got to learn it.
Yeah. And I feel like nowadays there's even more tools to learn, like using ChatGPT when you don't know something.
100%.
There's so many tools that we can lean into with technology now.
Yes.
When we don't know how to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
And I think I always, I knew how to prepare.
Yeah.
I knew how to prep. The first client we ever had as a company, Rise Up For You, was a Fortune 3 company. Wow. So I'll let you decide which one you think it is.
Wow.
They didn't know that.
Yeah, totally.
But somebody saw the podcast and, the posts and stuff I was doing on social media. I wasn't making any money. I was still just building content.
Amazing.
And I got an email that was like, hey, we heard you were an amazing coach and you do this great work and we'd love to hire you for this thing. And it was a lot of money. And I thought it was spam. I was like, oh, no okay. And then they were like, no, we want to interview you. We want to meet you. And I remember, I was like, oh my God, I've never had a client before. I've never made any money. And now I'm going to go into this interview with these people that are at this massive company to see if, they're going to bring me in. I wrote down every freaking possible question they could ask me.
Wow.
What could they ask me in this meeting? And I studied it, and then I went through my experiences, and I'm like, oh yeah, I did this in corporate, and I just I prepped, and then I went and I did the interview, and 30 minutes later they were like, we got the job, and we want you to bring a team member. Now I'm a team of one. I'm like, not a problem.
Yep. Got it.
What kind of team? Bring it to how many do you want?
Yes, sir.
And the rest is history. And 5 years later, we're still working with them every year.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Yeah. Totally. Because sometimes it is fake it till you make it. You had something to give. You knew you had something that was important to give, and you just gave it.
Well, and it's also knowing how to position yourself.
Yes.
Right? Okay, I might not have spoke for thousands of people in corporate, let's say at that time, but I've spoken and stood on stage for hundreds of thousands of people as a singer.
Right.
Totally. So it's I've been on stage for hundreds of thousands of people.
Yes.
Now, whether it's me singing and answering a question about, voice versus me standing on stage and talking about being your best, to me, it's
same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Amazing. You're amazing. I love it. So your work has impacted thousands of people globally. Yeah. What do you believe is the key to empowering individuals in their personal and professional lives?
From a coach and training perspective, if we're on this end,
yes,
I'm a firm believer that, I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, you can't give what you don't have. So I think what makes somebody a great coach and a great trainer is somebody that has really high self-confidence. Now, let me just clarify. Self-confidence is not ugly. It's not mean. It's not arrogant. It's not possible to be overly confident. Because true self-confidence, if you look up the definition, is a faith and a certainty in oneself. It's a self-awareness. It's a humbleness. It's an understanding that when you make mistakes and you fail, that's not your identity and that doesn't define you. True self-confidence, it's not competitive with anybody else. We want everyone to win. And so when you have high self-confidence, you have the capacity to see other people. When you don't have high self-confidence, everything that you're doing is through a lens of, I'm not good enough. What are you trying to say about me? Why'd you just trigger me? you said something there. Are you trying to tell me something? Like, there's always this lens of like, I'm not good enough. And so it impacts how you coach and how you train the person in front of you.
Yes.
I always say this when it comes to speaking. You know, a lot of people have a fear of public speaking, right? It's one of the number one fears. And a lot of people ask me, like, when you go on stage, you like, I just get in my zone and I go. And I'm like, well, that's because I'm not thinking about myself, you know, where most people do think about themselves when they're on stage.
Right.
But I'm like, when I'm on stage, it's not about me. It's about you.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to have self-confidence to get to that place.
Yes.
To be able to be on stage and be like, I'm not thinking if you like me. I'm not thinking if you like my dress. All I'm thinking about is how can I serve you?
Yes.
And that's where you make transformation with the clients or whoever is sitting in front of you.
Wow, that's profound and so true.
Yeah.
I see that. I see that in my everyday life.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So in your book, you talk about closing the gap between your potential and your performance. Can you elaborate on the concept?
Yeah, so I talk about closing the gap between you and your potential.
Yeah.
Because many of us, our potential is way up here, but we set our thermometer at like 70. Right? Ed Milet talks a lot about this, and I really appreciate how he words it. And he essentially says, like, many of us, we keep functioning at like the 70 mark or the 75 mark at the thermostat. And then when we push our potential, and then we get to like 80, we get to 85, and we're getting hotter and we're growing and we're pushing our potential. And then we freak out and we drop back down to the 75 mark. We drop back down to the 70 mark, right? We see this most predominantly when it comes to health. I'm going to get fit. I'm going to lose 50 pounds. You lose 50 pounds and then you self-sabotage because you're not comfortable with success. You're not comfortable with pushing your potential, that then you gain the 50 pounds back and another 20 and you go back down to the thermostat, right, of 70.
Interesting. Yeah.
We see this when it comes to relationships. We've all had friends or family members that they finally meet the one that we're like, oh, they are perfect for you. They're kind, they're loving. And the person freaks out and they just like sabotage the relationship, even though we can all see that like that was the one, right?
Right.
Because they weren't ready to like push themselves and they drop back down to that 70 on the thermostat. And so that my book is really all about that. It's like, how do you push past that place of comfort so that you can elevate yourself and your potential and continue to pursue your knowledge and your growth?
Yeah. And that's huge.
Yeah.
It's so important right now, especially for women.
Yeah.
Like and all people.
Yeah.
But I really feel like, addressing that for women is really big. And that will be really complementary to the manager community.
Yes. Well, a lot of women, because we work with a lot of women and we work with a lot of men.
Yeah.
Men struggle just as much. They just deal with it differently.
Yes.
Okay. But a lot of women, when they struggle with self-confidence and imposter syndrome and perfectionist mindset, oftentimes they get crippled in taking action, right? In men, sometimes we see the opposite. When a man is not confident, sometimes they assert anyways. They move forward anyway, right? Like we saw this with the Hewlett and Packard statistic. They said that men will apply for a job when they have 60% of the knowledge, and women won't apply until they have 100%.
Interesting.
So it's like a D- versus an A+, right? And so we see this often is that, women unfortunately struggle a lot more with perfectionist mindset, with imposter syndrome, with feeling enough. Unfortunately, even in today's world, there's still a scarcity mindset around other women sitting at the table with you. And so then that creates behaviors in us. And there's a lot of like women on women in the workplace. I'll be honest with you, the majority of female executives that I've worked with, or the majority of female clients that I've worked with that are struggling, that struggle with confidence, it's because of an ugly situation they had with a female leader.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's a big part of what needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
Is the woman on woman toxicity as well. I've in my life and my career have been so lifted up by men.
Me too. Yeah.
Women as well. But there have been significant progress and milestones that were made in my life that were given to me by male mentors.
100%.
Yes. And this movement isn't at all about like putting men down or any of
Not
that.
at all.
It's really like about how we as women can learn to really cooperate with one another and
Yes.
really help one another and mentor one another and help each other get to the next level.
100%. I mean, I come from a family, so all my siblings are men.
Yeah.
Right. So I come from like a very male dominated family, but all of like my mom, my aunts, my cousins were all so empowering as females. So I feel lucky that I'm like, okay, I had the best of both worlds. Like I understand how to work with men because all my brothers are men, lots of sharpshooters and you know, Bret Hart moves and that kind of stuff. But I had very powerful women that were in my life as well. But when I went into the workplace, really any industry that I was in, I never had a challenge with men. They never pushed me down. But I did have challenges with women that either felt threatened or they were afraid to make space, you know, and I always thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
But now I'm older, and obviously when I became an executive, I understood, right? Now you understand the behavior and the psychology and kind of what's going on with people.
Yeah. I have had some men do predatorial things as far as in business, like in my 20s, especially when I was young and full of ideas. Didn't know how to protect them. But as far as like the head-to-head combat has been more with the females, even in film school. It was interesting. Very interesting. But just like that feeling of not enough seats at the table.
Yeah. And it's not it's not malicious. It's just that there really is a fear that like, I've worked so hard to get here and there's only so many seats, but that doesn't exist as much today. I'm not saying it doesn't exist at all. Depends on the organization you're with, the institute. It also depends what country you're in.
Yes.
But a lot of those challenges are behind us, and most of us, there is room at the table for multiple women. And it's better if we pull each other up, because I firmly believe that women are stronger together.
I do too. I believe that's truly our nature is, you know, I feel like women have always worked in circles.
Yes.
You know, and I feel like the more that we can bring that tradition back.
100%.
We lost it for a minute, and I'd love to bring that back.
100%.
Yeah.
And we take care of each other.
Yes.
Like my team is split 50-50.
Yeah.
And shout out to all of the team members. And they're all amazing.
Yeah.
Not to knock my male team members, you guys are great too. But the team members that are female, they're like so nurturing all the time.
Yeah.
Right? How can I, like, they're full on in their work and thinking about like, how can I help you? What do you need? You know, and I think that's really special too.
It really is. It's a special gift that women have.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just the way we're born. Yeah. How do you define leadership? And what qualities do you believe are essential for effective leaders today?
That's a really good question. For me, leadership is transformative, not transactional.
Yes.
A lot of leaders, unfortunately, function at a transactional level. And the way that I like to picture it is like Maslow's hierarchy. So the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy is, you know, resources, support, safety. Do you feel good? A lot of leaders are in that space. It's like, how are you doing today? You good? Do you need anything? Everything's okay? You know, I have an open door policy. Let me know, right? That's where they are. I think the greatest leaders are transformative. They take you to the top of Maslow's hierarchy, which is self-actualization, which is helping the individual push their potential. The greatest leaders are potential seekers. They look at their team and they say, there's more in there. All right, I'm gonna get you. Like I'm gonna get you to, you know, and they like, it's a fire in them to do that.
Yeah.
So for me, those are the greatest leaders, and I'm always gonna go back to self-confidence.
Yeah.
You know, I think those are that is the element. Emotional intelligence, right, is the biggest element. Self-confidence is under emotional intelligence. It's like a little bracket.
Interesting.
So I think emotional intelligence is the number one factor. Leaders need to be successful. Not just leaders, anybody needs to be successful. I truly believe it's what helps you become the top 10% in anything that you do and in your life. And self-confidence is one of the major areas that if we can get it down, it'll change their leadership. But a lot of people are confused with what that means, self-confidence.
Yeah.
Here's what it looks like in the workplace. Somebody says something to you and you get triggered and then you behave unprofessionally. Why do you get triggered? Because that whatever they said to you, like set you off or made you feel a certain way. Maybe they didn't make you feel enough, or maybe they didn't validate you, right? It's a self-confidence thing. Have you ever had a team member where you gave them feedback on an email and they just came crashing down, right? They started crying and bawling because they don't feel enough when you talk to them about the email, instead of them hearing the email, they hear like, I'm me. Yeah, yes, exactly. It becomes about them. So these are just some of the things. Leaders that are I've had executives of companies that are sitting in meetings and have something to say and they don't say it. I'm like, you're an executive. They're like, just, I didn't know if people would like it. And so all these little things where it shows up in the workplace that impact the leading and the ability to create the transformation that we need.
Amazing. So I'm sure this is in your book, right? Like how to build self-confidence.
So I have 2 #1 best-selling books. The first one, Rise Up For You, is all about confidence and my story and like how I used confidence to, like you said, rise from the ashes and grow.
Yeah.
And then the second book, Emotional and Social Intelligence, came out in February, was a #1 bestseller. And that's really focused on like leadership, building emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And then this year we have 3 more books coming out.
Amazing. I just feel like, we did like self-esteem classes in school.
Yeah.
But
you did? That's
we
amazing.
did. I remember
What school
in
did you go to?
elementary school, I went to Moulton Elementary School.
Shout out to Moulton.
Shout out to Moulton. All my homies from Moulton. Actually, a lot of the kids I went to school with ended up doing really well. And I wonder if it's not because,
I would guarantee, we should do a study.
Yeah, we had to do like, I remember sitting in a circle and it was like, my name's Aimee. Awesome Aimee. And we were practicing.
Yeah.
We had to do a practice around self-confidence.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's so needed today, especially with youth.
Oh my gosh. Well, with all of the comparison and social media, it strips people down.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate kind of where the youth are headed.
Yeah.
But I don't think I know that we can help support them, but we got to get it right first as adults.
Yeah.
So we could pass it down because it's cyclical.
Yes. Yeah. So we're refining the process right now,
Yeah.
but I love bringing the awareness. It's like the first thing you have to do is realize you have a problem.
Yeah,
Be
exactly.
aware. Like,
exactly. You can't change what you don't know. Yeah.
I could work on my self-confidence more.
Absolutely.
And I've always felt fairly self-confident, but this like pushing through this wall, writing the book, having the podcast,
Absolutely.
Finding my voice,
Absolutely.
losing my voice, finding it again.
Finding it, yes. I love that.
But like I love your message.
Thank you.
Because when you're confident in yourself, you're a better listener, you're a better human.
Yes.
You're a better partner, you're a better parent.
You're more present.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you're also able to process what's happening around you more clearly through a better lens.
That's right. It's really all about the lens.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I heard you just got married.
I sure did, to an amazing man. Yes, he's awesome.
That's amazing. And now you're a mommy.
Overnight, yep.
Instant family. I love that. Well, you're going to be, with your soft skills.
Thank you.
I'm telling you, like these skills are the same ones we use at home and in motherhood. And you are perfect. I see why he picked you.
Thank you.
Because the emotional intelligence that we use in our homes with our children is the same emotional intelligence that we have to use with our employees in our offices.
I think so. I'm having a lot of fun so far. It's definitely a learning curve, but I do think that these tools help me. Like I find myself laughing more, even if it's stressful. Yes. It's just funny, Yeah. And so I find a lot of joy in it. And they're amazing kids. They're all under 10 years old.
Amazing.
And they have an amazing dad. They also have an amazing mom.
Yeah.
And so it's a delight to be a part of that co-parenting situation.
It's so much fun. Like I just love kids. I have a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And I'm just so excited for you because you get to be a kid again. When you're with little kids.
Oh, yeah.
Like the magic
I haven't
is
played
all
Nintendo
there.
in 20 years and all of a sudden I'm playing Mario Brothers.
Exactly. And getting to be, I love it. And like the holidays and the traditions that we build around our children and our families. Like we get to really dig deep and all the things we loved.
Yes.
We get to create new traditions for our families.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited for you to be doing that part of life.
Thank you. I am too.
This part's fun. But
you have to have it all.
The fulfillment of like being with children is just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. Yeah. I'm a firm believer that, for me, for my values as a woman, like you can have an amazing career and you can also have a family, an amazing husband, an amazing circle of friends. You can be healthy. Like I really believe that you can build a life that is whole, right? Whole in living
Yes.
to help you be your best. And
You're
I think
right.
all of those pieces are important.
It's true. If you're really going to live at 100% of your potential,
That's right. You have to.
You got to have all of the pieces. You got your friends, time for yourself, time for your spouse, time for your
100%.
kids,
Yes.
all of those things, and make it a priority.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And so now you're going to learn how to have the rhythm.
Yes.
The rhythm.
Yeah, we're getting it. I got my journal and my planner, and I plan what I'm going to cook. And
it's all about the rhythm. There's no such thing as balance in these lives that we run as busy women with lots of children and
100%.
husbands and all the things that we do. It's like, it's more like dancing.
Yeah. I'm good at dancing, so we can do that.
Yes, your singing and dancing will come in very handy in the next role you're playing here.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So how do you stay motivated to continue to grow personally and professionally? Like you've got all these books coming out.
There's not like really there's not a simple answer.
Yeah.
I think for me, I just really, I love life. That's the answer. I love life and I love what I do. Nothing gives me more joy than seeing other people thrive. And there's a part of me that doesn't want the pain of my parents to go to waste. I think there's also a part of me that's like everything that they gave to my brothers and I, like we're going to give it all back 1,000 times more. Like we're not going to let their hard work and their blood, sweat, and tears coming here from a third world country go to waste.
I love that. Oh, just like that deep purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that so much. Well, finding that deep purpose is so important to finding your spark, and to being able to stay in it and wake up every day and keep doing it.
I also think it goes back to like loving yourself though, because when I wake up in the morning, I have a mindset of like, well, I love myself. Like you deserve to go out there and get it.
Yes.
Like you deserve to like have amazing things.
Yes.
And I understand I have to work hard for them too. There's no part of me that's like, Nada, like just chill and take it easy. There's none of that in me. In me, I'm like, we got this. Let's go do it.
Speaking of, when you wake up, do you have a morning routine that helps you put it back in?
I do, yeah.
Good.
When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do, I go downstairs, I'll make my cup of coffee in my Nespresso machine and froth my creamer.
Nice.
And then I pray. That's the first thing I do. I pray to God, thank you for the life you've given me, for breath again today. Thank you for using me as a voice to make an impact in the world, and I say other things and pray. And then I'll read sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I'll read to expand my knowledge. I work out, probably about 4 to 5 days a week. I'll work out. I'll get movement in.
Good.
And those are things that are really important for me. And I have a lot of silence time in the morning too, because I don't want to stimulate my brain right when I wake up, right? I need to be able to sit with myself and what's my intent for the day? What do I have going on for the day? Sometimes it's off. It's a little bit off, when you're heavy in travel, but for the majority, that's where I'm at. Yeah.
That's awesome. I think finding a healthy routine is like so critical for success.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also just maintaining success.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can get there. And if you burn out and you don't have a really good practice.
Especially when you're in front of people.
Yes.
We're in the nature of training, coaching, and speaking.
Yeah.
I'm always going to say, like, I can't give what I don't have. Self-care is the greatest act of service you can have. It's the greatest act of service. Because when I take care of myself, I know I'm going to be 1,000 times better for you.
That's amazing. What about alone time? Do you make time to be alone with yourself? I've had 2 other guests that have talked about that today.
So when I do my routine in the morning, it's by myself. It's probably about an hour.
Nice.
Minimum. So there's other times where I'm alone, but for sure, like I have at least an hour to 90 minutes by myself.
This is the universe telling me I need more alone time.
Yeah.
You're the 3rd guest in a row yeah.
And I set myself up for success, like, with my husband, for example. I'm like, okay, babe, just so you know, like, this is what I do in the morning. Now, thankfully for me, I wake up early, so I get all my things in before the house wakes up. But it's really important for me if I want to be a good wife, if I want to be, a good mom and co-parent, if I want to be good on stage, if I want to be a good leader, if I want to be good at anything, like I've got to have that time.
What time do you wake up?
Anywhere between 5 and 5:30.
That's awesome.
Today I woke up at 7. I was like exhausted in a great way.
Yeah. I need to wake up an hour earlier. I'm usually up at 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My body usually wakes me up. I actually don't have an alarm.
Yeah.
So most of the time, my body will wake me up between 5 and 5:30. The sun comes up. I'm up with the sun. I leave my window open.
Yeah.
So whenever the sun's up, I'm up.
That's good.
but I don't ever put an alarm on, because if I sleep past the sun, that means I needed it.
Right.
So typically I wake up 5:30, but if I sleep till 7, it's my body is saying like, you needed that extra 90 minutes, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. That's ahimsa, practicing nonviolence against yourself. Yeah. I love that. Being flexible. Sometimes you're just tired. You need a little extra rest. No big deal. What advice would you give someone facing self-doubt or imposter syndrome?
Your thoughts don't need to dictate your behaviors.
Yes.
That's what I would say. Everybody has self-doubt. Everybody. It's a human condition. There's not one person that doesn't.
Yeah.
So I think that with self-doubt and imposter syndrome and the thoughts that you have, it's just understanding that it's okay for you to have negative thoughts, but they don't need to dictate your ability to take action. They don't need to sabotage your success in your life. And I think a lot of times people listen to their thoughts and then they behave according to them. It's okay to listen to a thought and then challenge the thought and say, you know what, today I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to do this anyway. And I think that's really healthy. That's
a really big and mature way to approach the monkey brain.
Yeah.
It's like,
the chatter that you have.
Yes, the chatter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's not always right.
Most of the time it's not. So like as individuals, we have anywhere between 6,000 to 12,000 thoughts a day. 80% of them are negative, according to neuroscience. Wow. Right. So this is research they've done on the brain.
Wow.
And so that's why it's important to understand that like most of your thoughts are crappy. So don't follow them all, right? Because if you do follow them all, like nothing's going to get done, or you're going to sabotage yourself, or you're going to make wrong decisions. So you have to be wise enough to know like, okay, these thoughts right now are not serving me. And what kind of person do I want to be? And then I always say like, argue with your thoughts like a politician.
Yes.
The way that we scream at the TV and like the things that we hear, do the same thing with your negative thoughts.
I love that. I love that so much. I learned that from Terry Cole in her book, Boundary Boss. I never really realized, I never heard all the voices. And then I was like, oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
Like the stories that we tell ourselves aren't true.
Yeah.
Just because they're there, they aren't true.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Challenge it. Mm-hmm. Challenge the voice inside your head that tells you you can't do something.
Yeah.
Because it's 80% of the time it doesn't know what it's talking about.
Exactly. That's right.
80% of the time it's wrong.
Yes.
Yeah. So feel free to challenge away.
That's right.
I love that. Nada, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing your insights and your valuable experiences with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Your dedication to empowering others is truly inspiring.
Thank you so much.
And just thank you for putting up with my voice today.
It's been great. I like the raspiness. Tina Turner, like, yeah.
I know, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go sing some blues now. Yeah. Don't mind me. I'll be down on Bourbon Street later.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a pleasure having you, and your journey and your work with Rise Up For You offer valuable lessons for anyone looking to grow and lead with confidence. To our listeners, I thank you for joining us on The Manage Her, and please look for Nada's new book.
Yeah. You can go to riseupforyou.com.
Yep.
Riseupforyou.com. We have a ton of free stuff. We have confidence quizzes that are free, emotional intelligence quizzes that are free. You can follow us at Rise Up For You. And then you can also connect with me, Nada Lena Nasserdeen. I do all of my personal social media. I do. Nice. So if you send me a message, I'll connect with you for sure.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Absolutely. And we'll put a link on our website too, on themanager.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.